Hello, everyone, and welcome to Seriously Loco, the Seriously Crazy fan podcast for El Paso Locomotive FC, a proud member of the Beautiful Game Network and brought to you by Roughneck Scars and Icarus FC. I'm your host, Phil Bakke, and tonight I'm joined again for another of our Getting Loco series by my co-host, Mika Burrell. Mika, how you doing?
Doing well. I rushed home from unexpected errands for this one, so I'm really excited. We've got a really awesome guest tonight.
This is Mika's time to shine. Right.
Now our guest is scared.
and we're also joined by Christian Canales. Christian, welcome.
Glad to be here again. These are always really fun to be a part of, and the more we do, it just means the closer we're getting to the regular season. So
very close indeed. Yeah. Well, the reason we're here tonight is to talk to our very special guest, and that is Egiluz. Ander, welcome to Seriously Loco.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here with you.
Well, thanks for joining. I know we had a little bit of moving around in terms of the timing of the interview, but you've been now in El Paso for a little while. You were reportedly trialing with the team a little bit and working out with the team during the off season. So, how long have you been in El Paso, and how are you finding it so far?
I've been here for about a month now. Previous to that, I was here for a week on trial, and then I got to go back home, get my stuff together. I ended up getting an offer from the team, and so then I came back down, and I've been here for a month now. So getting used to the city, getting used to things, and yeah, like you guys said, ready to kick off the season.
Well, Ander, you're one of the few players who actually there's a lot of background information floating around about you out there. I mean, we linked everyone to the United States of La Liga documentary, which was really awesome. And I assume you support Athletic Club, right? Having come through.
Yes, my grandpa was a season ticket holder. My dad still is to this day now. I played for their academy for 5 years. I love going to San Mames, and yeah, I'm definitely still a pretty diehard fan of Athletic. Yeah.
Awesome. Who would you say then are your footballing idols? I mean, are you an Aritaduriz fan, or who do you look up to, inside Athletic or out?
That's a very tough question. I always say there's obviously the greats of soccer or football, big names, like Messi, who I think is no one can compare to him. But within Athletic, there's obviously from when I was younger, guys like Iraola, Carlos Gurperi, I don't know, people, guys that you really look up to from when you're very young, and then getting a chance to be in the academy and being so close to them, it's hard to pick out one. I think that different positions and then different characters, like guys that are still there, like Oscar de Marcos now, really great role models, especially for what they do on the field, but also what they mean to the club off the field as well. Yeah.
Well, talk to us a little bit about your time in Lezama. What is the footballing philosophy, if you will, at Athletic Club? And do you think that translates well to the North American game? Because, I mean, the reason, Phil joked at the top of the show that it was my time to shine because I'm the big Spanish football buff on the pod, and I had known about you for a couple years now. So I'm curious, you've kind of blazed a path that not a lot of Americans have done. So tell us kind of what the philosophy is at Lezama and how you think that might play out here in North America now that you're playing for Locomotive this season.
Yeah, I think that one of the coolest things at Athletic from a worldwide standpoint is that they only field Basque players. So the Basque country is a very small region in the northern part of Spain and southern France. And so the fact that they've only fielded Basque players since the club was created in 1898, and yet they're still one of the only 3 teams, along with Barcelona and Madrid, that have never been relegated from the Spanish First Division. It puts a big emphasis on the importance of the academy and developing Basque players, right? Because You look at all of these other amazing teams that have the opportunity to sign players from anywhere in the world, and at Athletic that is impossible because of this philosophy that I'm talking about. And so because of that, Lezama, I think, is not because I've been there or because I've been close to it, but because of the importance it has for its first team. It's one of the best academies, I think, in the world. And so for me personally, it was a privilege to be there, to spend time there, to learn there, to become the soccer player and part of the person that I am today. And so in a way, I hope to come, I'm here in El Paso now. I have that background, and I just hope to contribute and help the team in whatever ways possible.
So in other words, like say a team up the road like maybe Real Sociedad, they have bought players from abroad, but that doesn't necessarily mean they've stayed in the top flight, right? That's what kind of separates the sides, if you will.
Yes, that's exactly right. So it just makes it special. There's a very strong connection between the fans, the team, because they know that everyone that's out on the field is truly representing those people that are in the stands, right? Because
Right.
everyone is local. So it makes it special, and yeah, it also differentiates the club, to any of the others that are out there in the world. So yeah.
So, Andre, as you were coming up through the ranks at Lezama, and as you were, your obviously your family's ingrained in Athletic Club. Your dream is to play for the first team. As you started to move through the ranks, and then you actually do move out of the academy and moved to I believe Leoa first, and as you move to those clubs in the Segunda Division B and all those things, like, how do you handle that where you start to have this departure from the club that you've like been so connected to, and you have to kind of find your way through like the other divisions of Spanish football?
Yeah. Well, at the very beginning, when you're, in any place in life where you're happy and where you look forward to being, when they close that door, when they say that contract isn't going to be renewed, it's obviously tough. Like there's no, I can't say otherwise. Like it obviously was tough at first, but like I say, I think I'm privileged to have been able to spend 5 years there. There's a lot of kids that would have loved to have been in the position that I was, and not just that. At the time, also you look and see, at that time there was players on the first team that had been through Lezama that had to go out and go out on find other paths. Players like Beñat, players like Mikel Rico, Echeita, Xavi Echeita. There were a lot of players on the first team at the time that had left the academy, that had to go out and find their way, at different clubs in Spain and even internationally, and then ended up coming back. So at the time it was very tough and difficult, but I knew that, there's obviously, I guess, each person or each player has a path that is, I guess it might be destiny. I don't know, but I just took it that way and just tried to make the best of, going to Leioa, going to Villarrobledo, going to Aro, and then finally being here. There's, if I would have gone all the way straight up to Athletic's first team through Lezama, I would never have been in El Paso. And so just try to make the best of it. I'm happy to be here now and look forward to a great season.
Which of those clubs, after, like, between now and when you left Athletic, which of those clubs do you associate with, like, where did you enjoy your football the most of those clubs?
I think that once I left Athletic, Athletic was great to be there. But it is true that there was a very strong competitiveness, within the teammates, guys wanting to move up, obviously, and hopefully become a professional player one day. And so when I left Athletic, that really opened my eyes as to what soccer, and football really is about. I left and I went to Leioa. The group of guys that we had there were absolutely amazing, and it was an incredible family. We actually were able to qualify for the Spanish Copa del Rey, and so apart from good results on the field, it was just amazing. For me, it was very eye-opening and great to be with that group of guys. But I think that I've taken, even when I left Leyo, I went to Villarrobledo because I had torn my ACL the season before and I didn't have very many options. And so I was lucky to play under an amazing head coach, absolutely amazing, who I'll say his name, Eduardo Perez Moran, and he had coached internationally all over the place. He was an assistant coach of Xavi Hernandez in Qatar. And so learned a lot of things there. Then moved to Aro, and I also, had a great group of guys as well. Good coach, very good guy. And, I think that it's important to take advantage of each place that, constantly learn no matter where you are. So I wouldn't be able to pick out just one spot, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Sure. No, it makes total sense. And I mean, obviously American fans will know La Liga and the big clubs. Everybody knows the household names, but what is one thing that you would tell people about the lower divisions of Spanish football, and something that they may not understand about the lower leagues in Spain that you learn from, or that you value from your time there?
Yeah, I think that I'll point out, if I had to say one thing, it would be competitiveness. There's obviously, I think that there is a difference in economical power that teams have there. So in the Segunda B itself, there were, amazing teams with a lot of economical power that were able to buy very good players. And then there were a lot of other teams that didn't have that at all. And so, but what was amazing to me is that even those teams that didn't have literally any money at all, I mean, I've been in places where we weren't paid, on day and things like that. And it's still just very, very competitive, very, very competitive. And I think that another thing is that there is a lot of quality in those leagues that a lot of people don't know about. And so that's what I would say: competitiveness and quality.
So, Andrew, now you're here with El Paso Locomotive, and we'd like to know, how did you first hear of Locomotive's interest in you? Because it's, El Paso is a pretty far-flung place from Bilbao, for example. So how did you hear about Locomotive's interest, and tell us a little bit about what it was like being a trialist for the club first?
Yeah, it goes back to kind of my background that you were talking about at the beginning. I am a dual citizen. My dad's from the Basque Country, and my mom is from Idaho, and so I have dual citizenship. I've always been interested, and I've stayed very connected to the U.S. I've always said that I would like to play in the U.S., and so I've always kept my eye open to just to interest of teams that might want me to play for them. And so it was actually through the connection goes back to the coach that I had at Villarrobledo, who took over Dominic's position in New York. Dominic is our assistant coach here in El Paso today. And so anyway, the connection was initially made there during last season. And then through that, we were in long talks from last season already, and then that was one of the things that what you asked about Segunda B and what I thought, what could I tell people about it? Well, one of the things was that every team that I've had that shown interest in me from the U.S. has always wanted me to come and try out, right? And I understand that, because a lot of people don't know, well, we see the video, he might look good, but we don't know exactly what level he's playing in, right? And so for me, it was always impossible, because the soccer season in Europe and everywhere else in the world goes from August till May or June, and here it goes straight through the summer. And so when teams sign players here is in December, January, when over there I would always be under contract. So anyway, long story short, this last summer I had a team leave me hanging last day of the summer transfer window. So I ended up without a team. And so then I was really in a position where I could come into a soccer team in January and try out. And so that's how the connection with El Paso Locomotive was made. The scenario for me to come in and practice with the team was right. And so I'm just very glad it all worked out and happy to be here.
Well, that is their loss, and I'll put it out there right now. When you signed, you can ask these guys. I was very excited about it, and we all are, to be fair, and so are the fans that we've spoken to. So, their loss is our gain for sure. Um, you talked a little bit about your dual nationality, your mom being from Boise, and it's my understanding you played with the U.S. men's national team under 19 side and won Slovakia Cup. I noticed that Eric Carrillo was in that side. Are you friends with Eric? Had you been familiar with him or with any of our other players from, tournaments like that or just crossing paths over the years in the sport?
I did, yeah. I went to the Slovakia Cup in 2016, I believe it was, and played alongside Eric. And it was actually when we first saw each other here in El Paso. That's the first thing we talked about was that experience in Slovakia. So he is actually. I'm trying to think real fast, but I think he is actually the only player that I had met before. So came in and only knowing him. I didn't know anyone else here at the time, but
well, at least it's one person, right? Helping you all get
yeah,
settled in.
one's better than none. Yeah, definitely.
Perfect. Well, listen, let's talk about you as a player and what we can expect in the 2022 season. It seems like you can play in defense and in central midfield. And is there a preference of those positions, or maybe one that I didn't mention? And how does John see you? And what do you think your best attributes are as a footballer?
That's a tough question. It's always hard to talk about oneself, but I think that as a football player, I think I have a pretty good vision of the game. I think I'm smart in understanding what my virtues are and where I might be weaker, and I try to work with that. Through my time at Athletic, I was mostly brought up as a center mid, as a number 6, mostly 6 or an 8. But then more recently in Leioa and at the team I was before here in Ado, the coaches started playing me at center back a little bit, and they saw that I could perform well there as well. And so, yeah, I think that's one of the things I bring to the team is versatility in terms of being another option for John in different positions. I think you would have to ask him about where he sees me more, I guess. But it is true. I won't lie. In this preseason, I've been playing at center back more. So we'll see. As long as I'm able to help the team, I think that's most important. I think I have a good understanding of the game, and the ability to accept a role wherever that has to be. And so if it has to be center mid, it'll be center mid. If it has to be center back, it'll be there. And if it has to be elsewhere, I'll try to adapt and help the team in any way possible. So,
yeah. Anders, so talks a little bit about how you've been used so far this preseason. What I don't know if this was a discussion. How you're being used is one of those questions that gets asked when you're making your decision about, are you going to decide to play with Locomotive. But what was it about John or El Paso or whatever? What was kind of the little push that made you decide that this was the next stop for you?
I think in terms of John and the coaching staff and the style that the team wants to play, I really liked it. It's a very aggressive style, a style of wanting to dominate teams. No matter if we're playing at home, away, if we're winning, if we're losing. just the idea of wanting to dominate teams. And I think that aggressive approach is something that I really liked. It's something that if we are able to get right, which I think we will be, could be very fun for us that will be playing, as well as for the fans. And so, yeah, I think that getting the chance to come in on trial was also a way for me to see, what the team could do or what the coaching staff wanted without me being committed to the team as well, right? And so once I was able to see that, and then when I got the offer, I saw it as a good opportunity for both sides.
So, Ander, when supporters see you on the field, obviously there sometimes we kind of like model ourselves after a certain style of play or have a player in mind, kind of like when we're seeing someone, we're like, oh man, he reminds me of so and so. Who will that player be? Or is there a player who, when they watch Ander on the field, will they be like, oh man, he reminds me of so and so?
Oh, that's a tough question. I can't answer that. I mean, I have to leave that up to the fans. I have to leave that up to you guys. There's no way.
Is that because you defy classification, or is that because you can't put yourself on the same level as a recognizable player?
I think probably both, honestly. Yeah. No, it's tough. It's I don't know. I think that all I can say is that I am Ander, I am myself, and that's what I strive to be. Just be a better version of myself every day, both on and off the field. And if me on the field reminds you guys of a great soccer player out there, then that's awesome. That's awesome, and I'd love to hear who that is once you guys pick that player. But no, like I say, for now, I go to practice tomorrow morning thinking, how can I be better without looking at, amazing players. So,
I mean, I do have a player in mind.
You do?
I was thinking, I mean, I wrote a piece about you if you ever want to check out our Patreon, and had to, look at the stats, look at the videos. I mean, if I'm looking at Athletic Club, I'm thinking maybe Mikel Vesca, maybe. He might be a bit taller than you, but
yeah, no, right now, at current Athletic, I guess it could be, but like I said, you never know, because if you see me out there playing center back, then you might say, oh well, he's no longer Mikel Vesca, right? Because he's a center midfielder. So that's what I mean. Like I can't. Right. It's just hard for me to give you guys a name or someone who.
Do you have a favorite player at Athletic right now in the first team that you really like?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of great players there, I will say, but I think that one of the most impactful players, and from a position that I might be playing this year, is Íñigo Martinez. I think he's left center back, and I think he's amazing. That's why he's on the Spanish national team. That's why he's so crucial for Athletic, but an amazing player.
Came from La Real, if I'm not mistaken, right?
You're right.
Yeah, wow, that was a little controversial, right? Because I think he had said I'd never leave La Real, but when Athletic comes calling, right? That's
what happened.
I see that being hard to turn down.
That's what happened.
Yeah. So season starts in 5 days. I know you used a couple of keywords earlier when you were talking about the philosophy of the team, but can you, just from the way that you've seen this team come together over the last couple of weeks, can you tell the listeners, in 3 words, what this Locomotive team is? Describe this year's team in 3 words.
Boy, just 3. That's tough, but I'll start with aggressive. I'll say aggressive, and I'll say it in a positive way. Not, we aren't going to go out and start kicking people and trying to hurt. No. I mean, like we're going to pressure teams. We're going to try to take the ball away from them. We're going to try to dominate them. So I'd say that aggressive is one word. I'd say Offensive, I'd say. I think we're going to try to play a lot of offense. Going to try to play on the opposing team's side of the field. And then the third word I'd say is probably talented. I think, I don't know, across the board, I think there's a lot of talented guys on the team. So those are the three words I'd use.
That's exciting, and that's a little bit of a change, from what we've seen. I don't know how much you watched of Locomotive last season before, but with the previous manager, it was a lot. At least to me, from my perspective, it seemed, it was very nice football, very very nice football to watch, but I don't think aggressive is the way a lot of people would have described it. So to see that kind of shift of mindset is going to be interesting from a fan's perspective. But I think that's all the real football stuff, right, guys?
Well, I guess I would just ask as we kind of wrap things up. Obviously, so we've played in preseason. We've seen a pretty wide array of results, which I think is to be expected in preseason with trying out different people, different positions, playing some academy players as well, like in some of these games. So how have you felt about how the team has come together, and how ready are you all feeling ahead of this opening game against Sacramento Republic?
Yeah, I think that you were right on point. There's the results are there, and they jump around a lot. Big wins, big losses. I think that what we need to focus on most is that in all games, even against New England Revolution and one of the best MLS teams out there, I think we've played some very, very good soccer in all games. And so I think that for us, the biggest challenge is just going to be able to prolong those good moments of soccer into 90 minutes, into a whole game in Sacramento of playing good soccer from start to finish. And so I think that's the biggest challenge for us. We've shown great signs. And what you say is also true. A lot of academy players playing with us, which is a great sign. It's awesome for El Paso, I think. But this week, it's the real deal. It's competition, and so we're looking forward to playing a complete 90-minute game and coming out with a result. So that's our challenge.
All right, Christian, now we can get into the unserious territory.
Yeah, so we're becoming notorious for this question in our interviews now. But you've been here, I think, a considerable amount of time, relative to some of the other players that we've interviewed. So hopefully we get a little more insight from you. But what are your opinions on food so far? The food in the area, and is there something that you've eaten that really stood out to you?
Well, obviously, being so close to Mexico and with the Hispanic community here, Mexican food, right? I personally love food, all kinds of food. I really enjoy eating. I think it's one of the greatest pleasures in life, and the Mexican food down here is pretty hard to beat. Yeah.
Is there somewhere that you've gone that you really really enjoyed?
Oh, I don't know. I've actually gone across to Juarez even and tried some places there, and so it's cool. It's cool that it's the border town vibe of having that opportunity right there too. And so I don't know. I wouldn't pick out one place. I haven't been here long enough to give you like my personal favorite, but yeah, I think that Mexican food's big down here, and that's easy to appreciate. Yeah.
How's it? Obviously, there's no place like home, obviously, but how's it comparing to what you're used to in the Basque Country?
Well, yeah. So the Basque Country, I mean, it's completely different, right? Like climate wise, you think of it very, very green, raining all through the winter. I think here, since I've been here, I don't think it's rained once, and it probably I doubt it will very too much here while I'm here. But anyway, yeah, so it's very different, but that also makes it interesting. I think it makes me want to explore. It makes me want to try to enjoy El Paso and find what it has to offer, And so, although it is completely different, I will also say that I'm also an Idahoan, and I've spent a lot of time there in southern Idaho mostly, and so there is a lot of desert, a lot of dry climate, and something that's more similar to what it is down here. So although it's different, very different to the Basque Country, it's not completely foreign to me.
So is your family going to be able to make it out to El Paso to come see you play? Are they based in Boise, or are they all in Spain, or kind of from all over the place?
Yeah, well, that's one of the things that, I think that I'm an extremely lucky person. Apart from being able to play soccer now and do what I like for a living, mostly I'm lucky for my family, for my two parents, my sister, and everything that especially my parents, have done for both of us to get the best of both worlds, to grow up coming and going as much as we have. And to this day, that hasn't changed. My parents are still coming and going. We have my dad's side of the family with my grandma and my uncle and aunt there. And we have that side of the family, my grandma, that my dad still tries to take care of while he's there. We have my mom and her side of the family here in Idaho. So they are constantly jumping around back and forth. But I think they'll definitely be coming down to El Paso, and I think it'll actually be pretty soon. It'll be towards the end of this month. So look forward to seeing them down here. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure you might already know, but the opening day is against our rival, New Mexico United, and it's a big derby. It may not be quite San Mames, but it is a really good atmosphere. So hopefully you're looking forward to it, because I know we are.
Yes, that's what everyone has said. Everyone has said that atmosphere down here is pretty amazing. And so that obviously makes it, it's one more reason to go out and really, it's a motivating factor, obviously. And so, yeah, we're definitely looking forward to it. But we're professional soccer players, and we know that it all starts in Sacramento, and that's where the first 3 points are on the line. And although we are really looking forward to the home opener, we really want to beat New Mexico. We need to do our homework away from home first. So that's our goal, and that's all we're thinking of right now.
Well, Ander, it's been a pleasure getting to know you over a brief period of time, and obviously we're so looking forward to you guys getting the season started this weekend, and we're really excited to see what you can do in well, I was gonna say in blue, but I guess in black.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, thanks again, and yeah, we will. I'm sure we'll be chatting throughout the season, and hopefully, it's a successful one for you guys. Safe travels up to Sacramento, and if you get a chance, this might not mean anything to you, but leave one on Nick Ross when you see him out in the center of midfield.
Savage.
Well, thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it. Had a great time, and look forward to seeing you soon at Southwest University Park in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Great.
Ander.
Thanks, Ander.
Pleasure.
Thank you, guys.
That was Ander Egiluz, the former Athletic Club midfielder / defender. We will see where he turns out for El Paso Locomotive FC this year. It seems like he is being utilized in that center back position, but really excited to hear from Ander and hear about his experiences at Athletic and hear about his journeys through the lower leagues in Spain all the way over here to El Paso. Things are shaping up, guys. We are just a few days away. You're hearing this likely on Tuesday morning, which means we're 4 days essentially from the start of the season. Very exciting times. We're really looking forward to seeing what these boys are putting together, see what John's got for us, and no more time for fun and games. The business end of the season starts now. So thank you all for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please consider subscribing to Seriously Loco on your podcast platform of choice. And if that platform allows you to rate or review podcasts, leave us a review if you enjoy it. We love for more people to find the podcast. We'd love for more Locomotive fans to connect with it. And if you guys are enjoying a lot and you're finding that you want even more, you can find us at our Patreon. So head to our Patreon, and for the small fee of $2 a month, you can get access to extra articles and all sorts of stuff, interviews. We ask Patreon patrons to give us questions ahead of big interviews and those sorts of things. So keep an eye out. Consider supporting us. And for all of those who do support us on our Patreon, you guys are absolute legends. Thank you so much for supporting what we do, and we're really excited to bring you another amazing season of Locomotive football. Looking forward to it so much. I literally cannot contain myself. Thanks all for listening, and until next time, stay loco.